When dawn broke on a summer morning in 490 BC, Greek troops were ready for battle on the coastal plain near Marathon, northeast of Athens. They awaited the charge of their eternal enemy, the powerful hordes of Persia led by none other than Darius the Great. Their unstoppable expansion was heading west, towards the heart of ancient Greece, a society they intended to subjugate. When the Persians arrived at the site, the distance between the two armies had been reduced to about 1,500 meters. It is estimated that around 36,000 Persians had landed in Marathon that morning, commanded by Datis and Artaphernes, two highly experienced Persian generals. Miltiades ordered the two clans that formed the center of the Greek formation, the Leonid clan led by Themistocles, and the Antiochus clan led by Aristides, to form 4 rows, while the rest of the tribes on their flanks would be in rows of 8. When the Athenian line was ready, according to sources, Miltiades gave the simple signal to advance and charge. Herodotus emphasizes that the Athenians ran the entire distance to the Persian lines, an incredible feat considering they were weighed down by their hoplite armor and shields, which were not exactly light. Herodotus also notes that this was the first time a Greek army had entered battle in this manner. This was probably because it was the first time a Greek army had faced an enemy composed mainly of projectile troops. All of this was evidently a great surprise to the Persians. In fact, sources clarify that the Persians were terrified when they saw the Athenians charging towards them with such fury, being so inferior in number and without cavalry or archers, crossing the rain of arrows thrown by the Persian army. The Greek line, mostly protected by their shields and armor, finally contacted the enemy. The battle stalled and became a real slaughter where the numerical disadvantage took its toll on the thin Greek center. For their part, the Athenian flanks quickly defeated the Persian levies before turning inwards to surround the enemy center that had been more successful against the thin Greek center. The battle ended when the Persian center erupted in panic and fled to their ships while being pursued by bloodthirsty Greeks. Some Persians, not knowing the local terrain, fled to the swamps where many perished by drowning. The Athenians continued to chase the Persians and pursued them to their ships, where they captured 7 vessels, although most of them managed to escape. Herodotus also tells the story of Cynaegeirus, who was the brother of the playwright Aeschylus, and was also among the Greek fighters. He notes that in his attempt to hold on to the stern of a Persian ship with his own hands, the Persians cut off his hand with an axe. He then held onto the ship with his remaining hand, so the Persians also cut off his other hand. Far from giving up and falling dead, as any human being would, he held onto the ship with his teeth, raging like a beast until he finally bled to death. According to sources, 6,400 Persian bodies were counted on the battlefield, and it is unknown how many more lost their lives in the swamps. The sources also claim that the Athenians lost 192 men and the Plataeans 11. Among the dead were the war archon Callimachus, the general Exarchos, and Laus. Immediately after the battle, Herodotus notes that the Persian fleet sailed around Cape Saunian to attack Athens directly. Some modern historians place this attempt just before the battle, but in any case, the Athenians evidently realized that their city was still threatened and marched as quickly as possible back to Athens. The 2 clans that had been at the center of the Athenian line stayed behind to protect the battlefield under the command of Aristides. The rest of the Athenians marched towards Athens and arrived in time to prevent the Persians from making a landing. Seeing that the opportunity had been lost, the Persians turned around and returned to Asia. The next day, the Spartan army arrived at Marathon, having covered 220 kilometers in just 3 days. The Spartans toured the battlefield of Marathon and, after seeing the carnage, recognized that the Athenians had achieved a great victory. However, Marathon marked the first of a series of spectacular Greek victories in the Greco-Persian Wars that culminated in Salamis in 480 BC and Plataea in 479 BC, battles that finally put an end to the Persian threat. These events not only secured Athens' military hegemony, but also inspired a flourishing of Greek culture. The Battle of Marathon marked a turning point in the wars between Greece and Persia, as before these defeats, the Persian Empire seemed unbeatable. Other leaders and other wealthy and powerful forces had already fallen to their power, but the Battle of Marathon revealed that Persia could also be defeated. The victory became a shining moment in the history of Greece and inspired numerous legends, including one in which the Athenian hero Theseus visited the battlefield to inspire the Greek forces. The victory of Marathon was not only documented in the stories of Herodotus but also in a broader fusion of art, culture, and architecture. The legend of Philippides also emerged, who is said to have been sent from the battlefield of Marathon to Athens to announce to the citizens that the Persians had been defeated in the Battle of Marathon in which he had just fought. The legend says that he ran a total of 42 kilometers, and when he arrived in Athens, he exclaimed, "Victory!" If you enjoyed this video, you could leave a like to let me know, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel as I will be uploading more content like this.